Select.
Yeah. We will start very shortly. I will count down manually.
All bingo matches start from a brand new file. You may have seen some Sunshine speedrunners start from something called hacked file, which allows you to skip cutscenes. Of course, in bingo, we want the opportunity to review the board, so the cutscenes are actually advantageous in this case. But the runners are underway, the board is revealed, and so now we can touch on what invasion is. So you'll notice that there are dots around the outside of the board. The first goal clicked by either player must be on those outside lines. So that's row 1, column 1, row 5, column 5. From there, depending on the position, it'll be locked into either rows or columns. Players must then invade towards the other side. So if you click a goal in row 1, then your opponent has to click a goal in row 5. And then you must click goals in order, so from 5 to 4 to 3 to 2 to 1, or from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. And you can't click more goals in the preceding row unless you have, or in the next row, if you don't have enough goals in the preceding row. Keep an eye on those dots, as those dots will signal whether or not a goal is available to be clicked by a particular player. Looks like the colors are slightly off. Samu's in blue. Rimato appears to be orange on the layout, but has the gray dots.
Yeah. So just like a mental note, the gray dots for Rimato, for the orange person, probably will do the trick. And yeah, invasions, as you have beautifully described, it's kind of a difficult format because it's not easy to actually keep track of everything, be aware of like every possibility, what goals you can actually go for, what goals you can click, and whatsoever. And the starting goals being pretty important. Whatever like start you want determines what side you get, what goals you want to go for, what goals your opponent has, what goals they can go for, what in the middle lines are usually pretty important because that gives you good access to your opponent's side. So this is pretty important usually. So getting access to this is pretty difficult. So you want to see how does my start do with a certain certain lines that come later. It's not the easiest format and in general. So it's kind of a bad first game in for a bigger audience that isn't like the Sunshine community who watched like dozens of games of any format, including Invasion, who have a pretty good grasp of how it works.
We'll do our best to walk you through it, however. So let's take a look at the card right now, and again, focusing on those outside goals, as those will be the first click. What do you see, Larby?
Yeah. Usually you want to go for like earlier goals just to secure them and know what you actually want to, what you will do in your match. So you probably look at the fastest goals first. For instance, Pianta-free damageless is, I think, the one of the 2 really fast goals or really early goals that you can obtain. And then you look at row 5 and row 4, how well they go together. For instance, Pianta-free is pretty fast in itself. There are 2 hidden in Jado Beach, which are very obtainable very early on, so they are usually a pretty good goal. And then in your second line in row 4, you have some rather late goals, like defeat the eel in Noki Bay, or Lily Pad, which requires Yoshi, which is like a 15 shine minimum goal. Defeat the eel is a 24 shine minimum goal. 6 shines in Rico seems like a lot, but Rico is generally a pretty fast level to get shines in. Hundreds in Rico is not that bad either. And then you maybe look at row 3 lastly and see, 150 yellow coins from Delfino or 50 yellow coins from 2. It's actually a pretty good goal generally. Very accessible early on. There are also goals like 65 total blue coins, which are pretty decent in a middle line. And maybe a hidden in Pianta, even though it's kind of late in the level, you will have Rimato13 done already, which kind of incentivize this goal as well. Then you look at, for other goals, for instance, 5 NPCs, which is the other really fast goal on this card. Then you look at row 1 and row 2 in the same procedure as you look at row 5 and 4. 5 NPCs is a good goal. 5 bluebirds is a very good goal as well. It's generally one of the best goals that you can go for, because you usually visit Gelato and Pinna, or you can visit those 2 levels at a pretty early state, and there's not much that you have to do there. Row 2 has 3 bar shines, which are also very accessible. 40 total blue coins, which is a rather low amount. 20 blue coins from 2 levels, which have like inherent synergy with 40 totals. And for instance, both gold bird shines are also pretty good. It's pretty easy, but it requires a lot of shines. But so it's better later on, but it's still a very good goal to go for. Then you see, how does row 1 go with goals in row 3. 5 NPCs and 3 bar shines can work well together, but row 3 is a bit more different. 4 unique bar shines, which means 4 unique bosses, and their shines rather, can go well with 3 bosses. 40 and 65 totals are basically right next to each other in a path. I mentioned 50 from 2 or 150 is generally a pretty good goal to go for, because it's very accessible.
Good overview of how you evaluate an invasion card. The cutscenes are finished. The racers are underway. Both are heading to open up Bianco. In order to progress in the game, there's a couple polluted piranhas you have to kill. And this is the first one of 3 that exist in the plaza. All 3 must be killed before you can access an area called Pinup Park. It's the theme park area if you've ever played Sunshine. So you have to clear all 3 of those and obtain 10 shines before you can access it. So this tends to be something that people will do in a bingo.
So you might see that Sam is going on a group slide adventure, and that is to drown the fire pianto, which has a blue coin, and that is mostly for 5 NPCs. It's an invasion only strategy, because that usually takes some time. Rimato has already defeated, or is about to unlock Bianco fully, while Samus still has to see the cutscene and whatnot. But that helps for 5 NPCs, which I think Rimato might go for as well. So it's actually pretty important. I think it's a race early on, which can decide a lot.
Yeah, that's one of the cool things about bingos. Unlike regular speedrunning, is you get to see some strats that just don't make sense in normal speedruns. You'd never see that in a 120 or anything else. And speaking of another strat that tends to be only done in bingos or certain category extensions, Rimato appears to be setting up here for Serena whenever. Using the banana, you can clip through the roof and you can get into the Serena pipe early without having to unlock Yoshi. So he's making a play right now for, I would imagine, NPCs. Maybe we'll stick around to kill the Manta boss.
That usually takes a lot of time, so I would probably assume it's only for the NPCs, and then he exits area, which is, as mentioned, very invasion only, because you spend like a lot of time just going for one goal. And in regular lockout, you usually wouldn't go for this, because it's it just, for one goal, you rather spend your time setting up for more stuff than anything. Rimato's going for Fruit Ladies now as NPCs, since they are also considered NPC blue coins. Samura has already one NPC, is about to enter Noki, but grab the Trino Links, which might be a bit greedy. We will see how
we'll
it
end up slowing him down. but he does have. He only has to do 2 of the faster fruit ladies. So, banana fruit lady is probably the fastest, followed by pineapple. Durian and coconut tend to be the slowest. Durian's because you have to kick them, and coconut because unless you're in a certain plaza state, there's only 1 coconut, and it's a little fiddly. You have to spray to get down off the tree. So this will be kind of close. We'll see what happens here as Samu finishes grabbing the 2 Nokis. And appears to be okay. So is just going to go kill the Manta. So instead of exiting area, gonna kill the Manta, give him progress towards bosses, but this will give Rimato 5 NPCs.
Yeah, this is pretty rough for Samu. He probably predicted Rimato to go for the Pianta free start, which honestly isn't even that bad for Rimato, but the fact that Samu banked on getting row 1 instead of row 5 will hurt him quite a bit. He didn't I think it's not an unfair assessment on Samu's side to assume that Rimato goes for Pianta free damages. Historically, Rimato really liked going into Pianta.
And Rimato accidentally kicked a Durian in before talking to the NPC, so he's gonna have to back it up.
Yeah, this is even sadder. Just if Samu actually raced for the NPCs, even with that Delfino linked, he would have won that out. Just based on that unfortunate thing happening to Rimato. That usually happens to me, and I hate it. And when the Durian goes into the basket before you talk to the lady, it's just a bad feeling.
So Rimato is going to click away 5 NPCs. As we mentioned in Invasion, that will give him row 1 as his home base. So now he can click any goal in row 1 or a single goal in row 2, which would then give him access to row 3 and so on. Meanwhile, Samu's first click must be in row 5. So Samu has to click either 100 coin and pinup, Pianta 3 damage list, 2 hidden some gelato, 2 turbos, or 7 bluebirds. And one of which is probably what he'll be doing next, which will be Pianta 3 damage list. And or he could stay and try to get hidden and gelato as his first click. That's not the worst choice in the world.
Now that you have set up for the wrong side, you probably try to think what to actually go for. And I do think Pianta 3 damages might be the play for Samu, because it has some synergies. It's like an early goal that you can get, so you have access to row 4, which always feels nice. But there are some possible synergies later down the line that you might want to consider. For instance, the 7 bluebirds. There are 2 bluebirds in Delfino Plaza, 2 bluebirds in Gelato Beach, and 2 bluebirds in Pinner Park. And how we will get 7 is by either entering episode 6 of Bianca Hills, which is not as liked because you need to do Bianca 5, which is a PD boss fight, which takes centuries, essentially. Or very deep into Pianta 8, the last episode, in fact, which is also taking a lot of time. But you do Pianta 3 damage this, so you have done episode 3 already. There's a Pianta hidden that you might want to do as well. Maybe even in episode 8, the the sun hidden, the sunshine, that can be a hidden. And when you get that shine, it will automatically be your 8th shine in Pianta, so you will have 8 from 1 level, and get the 7 bluebirds. It's not as advisable to do this early on, so progressing through Rekill is probably just better, just because it can set you up in case you get access to the 3 bosses in row 2 or 4 uniques in row 3. There are a lot of blue coins in Rekill, which make this level in particular very strong usually. So there's incentive for Samu to commit to a bit of the Rekill stuff. In addition, Rimato doesn't have good access to something in row 4 yet, because he needs a row 2 goal, he needs a row 3 goal afterwards.
Yeah, and you mentioned the potential of going to Pianta very deep to get access to a Bluebird. And I think that's one of the rough things about row 5 and row 4 right now is there's a lot of reason to go deep also in Rico for access to a turbo nozzle for 2 turbos. With Bianco, you can get the turbo nozzle early, but with Rico, you have to go kind of deep. So there's that aspect as well that sort of pulls you kind of deep into Rico, which also would work for Raid from 1. But at that point, right, you might also want to go deep in Pianta, which would just end up being too slow.
Rimato has collected 50 yellow coins from Bianco. This is obviously progress for 50 yellow coins from 2 levels, and Bianco is already 1 level. Of course, Rimato can't click this once he, immediately when he gets 50 yellow coins for instance, in Rico. But he will set up for this goal anyway, because he plans to click off, for instance, click off 2 goals immediately, like 3 bosses and 50 from 2.
Yeah, that's one of the strategy aspects of this competitive lockout bingo, and especially Invasion. Delay clicking your goals can be very valuable, especially if you can bait your opponent into going for goals that you can then sort of take out from under them. That sort of aspect of the game allows you to sort of get an advantage in terms of progression, while your opponent may be stuck doing a shine that doesn't help them for other goals.
Sunshine Lockout has evolved very much in the aspect of information is actually very important to play around in general. There have been games where people lost just because they clicked off something immediately and gave up information to their opponent, and the opponent capitalized on this in a way that just gave them too much of a lead to just run away with it. So in Invasion, it's especially finicky because you have limited access to goals, so you the information that you give is much more much more crucial than in other lockout formats.
So Rimato is... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was about to mention Rimato is eyeing 3 bosses instead.
Yep, I was going to say so as well. Yeah. So this will be his second boss with Petey. This gives him progress again towards 3 bosses, but also 4 uniques. 4 uniques is sort of an interesting goal. If you know Sunshine at all, you know that Rico Harbor has, say, 2 bloopers, and Bianco has 2 Petey fights. So 4 unique says, okay, you can do 1 blooper, but you can't do multiple. And so that means you have to enter multiple levels in order to get bosses. And to get 4 uniques, you tend to have to do at least one of the slower bosses that may not provide a ton of value elsewhere in the card. Examples Manta, for instance, a card that doesn't favor Serena all that much. And this is one of those cards, other than NPCs, I'm not seeing a ton of reason to go much deeper into Serena. There's no 2 hiddens, 1 level, non-gelato. There's no secrets goals. There's not even like a 3 from 4 or 4 from 3 that might pull you deeper into Serena. It's really only there for the boss and 2 Nokis.
There's literally no value except for the boss shine. I guess there is technically King Boo that you can go for, but for 4 unique boss shines. But that's just not necessary at all. It takes too much time for it to be relevant. And by the time King Boo would be relevant, I think 4 uniques could have been taken by getting the blooper boss shine and Mecha Bowser in Pinner 1.
Yep. Which is why you commonly see Manta as the 4th unique boss in the 4 unique bosses. Just the other bosses don't make a ton of sense. Eel is way too late. King Boo, like you mentioned, Wiggler is very slow. Those would be the other options.
King Boo, getting King Boo as a unique fast shines literally requires to do Manta anyway. So in that sense, yeah, you see Manta, you see King Boo with Manta usually. But the other unique bosses, as you mentioned, Wiggler and Eel, are pretty late. Wiggler actually is, you can do Wiggler earlier than Mecha Bowser, but you have to do Gelato 2 first, which is at very best a 2-minute 30 shine, and it's very terrible because it doesn't give you much access to anything else. So in that case, it's usually better to just do Mecha Bowser, do that boss shine instead, because it opens up usually Pinner 2, which is a secret shine, which usually is a goal, not this time, but it gives you progress towards, for instance, Yoshi, which is unlockable with Pinner 4, and which means that Lily Pad, no fruit clipping, which is specifically worded in a way that you need to get Yoshi to get to that goal. Mecha Bowser just has much more value than Wiggler, although there is a turbo nozzle that you can unlock in Gelato Episode 4, which means that Wiggler is not even the worst option for a unique boss, at least for Samu, who has this in row 5.
Yeah, excellent point about accessibility of nozzles. Those nozzle goals, not every level has every nozzle, and not every nozzle is unlocked at the same time. So knowing which level has which nozzle available to you, and knowing which levels unlock what nozzles at what point is a critical part of bingo routing when those goals are on the card. We saw Samu finish up, I think he didn't do Gelato 1 Reds, so he's got one hidden in Gelato right now, and is sort of heading back to Rico, heading to Pianta to probably make progress towards Pianta 3 damageless and mop up some blues. Meanwhile, Rimato is the one in Rico, grabbing some of the faster blues available to him, eyeing 40 totals, and again, his third boss is available in this level as well.
Yeah. From the looks of it, Rimato is setting up to collect 50 yellow coins from Rico Episode 1. That you can do hundreds in Rico in Episode 1 as well, which I don't think he's going for, because that route is not as optimal in that case. So he probably prioritizes actually getting 50 yellow coins from 2 levels over hundreds from Rico, possibly combining this, getting 3 goals in a row, like getting a row 4 goal when you're row 1 immediately, is very tempting, but it's sometimes a risk that you don't want to go for, especially in a tournament finals. In the first game, you might want to play a bit more safe when you think you are actually favored.
Yeah, and we didn't mention that cash money is on the line here. There's a prize pool of $150 that will be split between the top finishers in Division 1. So there is a little bit of cash on the line, as it were. So that may or may not play into it, but I think they're here to just play some good bingo. We saw Rimato enter the Gooper Blooper fight with 38 or so coins. Entering the fight does spawn some additional coins to collect, so that was part of his route. Meanwhile, Samu is finishing up Pianta 2, and is getting access to Pianta 3 to do it damageless. The common speedrunning trick in Pianta 3 is to use the wind sprites to give yourself a temporary invulnerability from taking damage, and to do some movement to jump across all of the flaming goop. The way Miyamoto intended for you to do it is to go underneath the city with a long obstacle course, but there are other ways to collect that shine without having to take any damage. And we'll see what Samu chooses to do here, as Rimato clicks away 3 boss shines and 50 from 2. Like we said, clicking off those 2 at the same point gives him access to goals in row 4, but he can't click anything in row 2 or row 3 until he clicks something else in row 1.
Indeed. As you mentioned, the Under the Village strat would have been cool, but it loses a minute, and River is actually very fine. there's a momentum swing jump, as you mentioned, that you can do, which is not the safest option of all. But it looks cool. So it might have been a good consideration to go for this, and it saves a bit of time. But I think Samu got at least one blue on the way, so it's not the end of the world.
Yeah, that's part of the nice part about River.
Because, yep, you can get 2 blue coins pretty easily without wasting too much time. And I think trading consistency and 2 blue coins for like 10 to 15 seconds is not a bad deal, in my opinion.
Samura1man, using the Pinna cutscene to be able to skip the text box on saving for the blue coin. A little bit of a time save there, but there's obviously, if you've seen any percent or 120 shine speed runs at a top level, you know that there's methods to skip this cutscene entirely. Those do carry risk with them, and so oftentimes in bingos you'll see people watching the cutscene just for safety's sake.
Yeah, Samu's probably trying to think of like a really good way to actually play out his side of the card, because to hit Gelato is pretty good, but he also needs he needs row 4 goals, which makes row 5 the row 5 start very tough in general. He doesn't have a lot of Rico shines. He can do the hundreds in Rico, but it's usually a big time investment. You need to do the hit to hints in Gelato eventually, because Rimato can have like a plan cooking up, getting something row 4, then stealing an important and a good and important goal in your first line, and that can just hurt your accessibility for like other goals in a way that is almost game losing.
Samu having a little bit of fun with one of the Pinna birds. This one's a bit of a notorious one. A little tough to get. Manages to land it. Meanwhile, opening up Gelato, Rimato on his way. He will probably get 40 totals here. There's some fast blues to grab along the way. Grab a hidden too. That'll get him 40 totals. But, as we mentioned, he will need another click in row 1 before he can do that. But I believe he's at least close to birds at this point. Grabbing the sand hidden, he'll be able to get 2 birds up top with the shine, and then he'll just need 1 bird in Pinna to be able to click 5 blue birds and 40 totals.
The good thing about 5 bluebirds is, as I mentioned before, there are 2 in Delfino Plaza and Gelato Beach and Pinna Park, respectively. And 5 allows you to skip 1 of the bluebirds. The Gelato bluebirds at least used to be notorious for being very trolly, and it's getting them being like getting both of them was pretty terrible. But usually nowadays runners usually get the 2 Gelato birds and can skip the awful bluebird in Pinna Park that Sam got last. Yeah, and only get the one at the very beginning, which is the easiest bluebird and one of the fastest blue coins. It's a 3-second blue coin, which is very juicy.
Rimato is going to trade in some blue coins here, give himself access to Pinna. He's cleared all 3 Gooper bloopers, so we'll have access to it. Meanwhile, Samu's finishing up Mecha Bowser. That is another unique boss for him. That'll be his 3rd unique boss overall, which means that if he goes to Bianco, he probably is not going to win out to 4 uniques. But even then, again, he still needs a click in row 4 in order to be able to progress out of row 5.
Yeah. Apparently in the chat, someone is saying that Rimato did not get the linked pair in Gelato, which means he can't finish out 7 links, the 7 links in Pinna Park, which have 3 linked pairs. you for 7 links you need to enter all but 1 level early on and get the links. There's one in Pianta, there's one in Pianta, there's one in Gelato, one in Rico, there's one in Bianco, 3 in Pinna, and there are and one in Delfino Plaza. There are technically 2 links pretty late into the levels in Bianco and Serena Beach, but both are episode 7, so very unviable to get the 7 linked pairs. And there's one in Noki 6, which is even less viable.
Yeah. And there we see another big double click coming in from Rimato, clicking away 5 bluebirds and 40 totals. So making good progress there on his side of the board. Samu appears to be doing Rico hundreds at this point, which, you know, not ideal to have to do, but you're sort of stuck right now and having to do them. So
yeah. The good thing for Samu is that like all the row 4 goals are not as great, and 6 in Rico and hundreds in Rico are probably the best goals in that row, so your row 5 goals are pretty secure. But that also means that you have to get through this, and you need to contest stuff in row 3, row 2, and row 1. Technically speaking, you can win an invasion without breaking into the 4th line at all, but it requires 4 goals. No, wait.
It requires 4 goals in the first 3 rows and another goal in
the first row. Yeah.
So it's uncommon to see. It's possible, but uncommon.
Yeah, and since there are goals like Pianta Shalamari, which is kind of terrible for Rimato, who has 0 Pianta progress, he needs to break into row 3. That's like Samu's saving grace. But at the same time, Rimato is doing Mecha Bowser very soon, skips a cutscene by exiting area. That's a common skip that is known to many, I think, but still worth talking about, because in Lockout we sometimes see watched cutscenes by accident.
That does happen sometimes, but we try to avoid it. Samu's about to finish up Rico hundreds here, grabbing the coins in the sewers. Meanwhile, Rimato's going to mop up Mecha Bowser. That'll be his 4th remove boss overall, giving him a 2nd click in row 3. Setting himself up pretty well right now. Like we mentioned, he grabbed all 3 link pairs in Pinna, so he can grab a 7th link at his leisure. And then from there, does he start threatening Lily Pad no fruit clipping? Does he stay in Pinna? What do you think he does from here?
I think Rimato has a lot of opportunities. He could opt to finish out the 7 links, try to opt to get 20 blue coins from 2 levels, or maybe just get Delfino and Noki shines to get to Noki, get gold, both gold birds as a goal, get 4 shines from Noki, and then you basically are set up for defeat the eel. This was Rimato's 4th unique boss. I didn't actually pay attention to this, but that is the case. He will progress through Pinna, which is also a very safe play. Lily Pad no fruit clipping is one of the better goals in row 4. At least it's the best goal for Rimato right now.
Yep, with the advantage in Pinna, can probably snatch that away and take away a potential route out for Samu. Feeling a little smothered right now. Is getting the gold bird shine though, so a potential click in row 2 for him, but Again, he's going to need something in row 3, like 4 shines from Noki or Hidden in Pianta. I would expect at this point Hidden in Pianta is probably advantageous because you're at 17 shines right now with no blues. Do you think you'll be able to get 4 shines from Noki before both Goldbirds from Rimato? Because Rimato will have a much easier time clicking that goal.
Samu got a bunch of blues. I think he traded.
He traded
40?
in 40. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so he still has to do 25, which is not the worst thing. There are like good 10 to 11 blue coins in Bianco that you can get. Then you have Gelato, like everything in Gelato still up. You have everything in Pinna still up, so you can probably get to 65 when you're Samu. But
Yeah,
you
it
need
depends
to.
on what Rimato does. Right. 'Cause
That's also true.
Yeah, Rimato's mopped up a ton of blues in Pinna, so he doesn't have access to a lot more. It does look like he's going to finish up 20 here, though, by getting one of the beach blues. Pinna is interesting in that it has 19 blues within the park, and then has the remaining 11 are located either outside or later in the level. So it's possible to obtain 19 blues on your first visit into the park. But if you want to get 20 from Pinna, you have to get one of the beach blues or go much deeper. So that's probably why we saw Rimato do that right now.
I was about to correct you when you said the remaining 11. I thought you were going to say outside the park, which is not the case. There's one blue coin exclusive to Pinna 6, or Pinna Episode 6, which is a butterfly blue coin, which is pretty terrible and very late into the level. Anyhow, he's opting to go for 20 blue coins, which I'm not even too sure of if that is the best decision Rimato could make. Both
Gets him close
Goldbirds.
to the 65 totals too.
Yeah, that's probably the main intention, I think. But both Goldbirds, I feel like, is a generally better goal.
Hey, friends.
Hello,
Can I-
friends.
Can we have
Hello?
a moment?
Of course.
Oh, sure.
I'm very aware. I am very aware that this is a quite a hype race, so we don't take too long. I just want to remind everybody that at the end of the day, we're raising a little bit of money here for a charity, and we got one donation here from one of our lovely hosts, Stacy, $1.73 with the comment rounding it up for you, Zoneris Kappa. You can't see that on stream, but we have a little bit of a cent thing going on, so it's not quite the right number. But anyway, yeah, Floa, about the charity. Tell us a little. What are we actually raising money for here?
Yeah, we are raising money for Fred Hutch, and if you don't know what Fred Hutch are doing, they're currently conducting trials for the COVID-19 vaccine, and they opened a first of its kind space for COVID-19 clinical research. And being one of the United States' first standalone centers dedicated to studying antiviral drugs, monoclonal antibodies, and other emerging therapies for COVID-19. So they're very hard investigated into the research of COVID-19 vaccines. So yeah, all donations that you make directly go to Fred Hutch, and you can even put them to one of our great instead.
Well, thank you,
Back-
Floha.
Yeah, back
Thank
to the
you,
awesome commentary.
Thank you, Floha and Zoneris. Appreciate it. Fred Hutch, local Seattle Research Institute to me. Hear their name all the time. They do fantastic work. Please give generously if you can. I know times are tough right now, but every little bit helps. And even just your presence here in this match is greatly appreciated. It's a lot of fun to have an audience. I'm sure the runners also appreciate it. But back to what's going on right now. Rimato finishing up Pinna 4 will give him access to Yoshi. Meanwhile, Sam was grabbing Noki Blues. Traded in again another 10 blue coins to give him access to Noki. So probably eyeing either 65 totals with this or 4 shines from Noki. I would believe he wants 65 totals, trying to get 15 from Noki here, so he can click 65 totals for Goldbirds.
Yeah, that's true. I was about to say, yeah. After all, we're still having a lot of bingo content for an actual cast, not just for like showcases and anything. But yeah, now the match is not progressing in a very like too interesting way. It's worth noting that Samu is first to Noki, so he has a bunch of blues accessible to him, and he actually wants the gold birds because getting that goal will be pretty huge for Samu. But Rimato, on the other hand, will get lily pad, and then there's some risky business going on with 2 hidden in gelato, which is pretty good goal for Samu in row 5, which he has put off and not done yet. So it's actually pretty scary right now, which Samu doesn't really know because Mecha Bowser is like the only immediate value that Pinna Park gives. The lily pad or fruit clipping is like the only other thing. There are no goals really that do too well with Pinna, except for link pairs, except for 20 from 2 and blue coins in general, but that's more of a general thing rather than deep Pinna progress specifically. Yeah.
So while lily pad no fruit clipping means you can't use fruit or a barrel to clip through the pipe, doesn't mean that glitches aren't allowed. And so you saw Rimato smuggle Yoshi underneath the water to be able to gain access to the pipe, collects the shine, clicks it away. It is now, as Larvae said, threatening row 5, and 2 hiddens in gelato appears to be a prime target. That's exactly where Ramato's heading.
Yeah,
we'll be able to get this pretty handily. It was one of the easier goals in Samu's base that he probably would have wanted, but he just delayed it way too long, and now Ramato's coming for it.
Yeah, that's kind of unfortunate, although the good thing for Samu is that even though 2 hints in gelato is a pretty good goal, at the same time these 2 hiddens don't do too much for you. It doesn't take too long. It's like 3 minutes for 2 shines that give you a goal. It's all good and fine and whatnot, but it doesn't help you much further than that, which is, I guess, the good thing for Samu, that if that gets stolen away, he probably heads back to gelato immediately after this and will get sniped to this, unfortunately.
Yeah, the 7 linked click coming in. Rimato using the gelato linked on his second visit. But no, Samu's heading to Pianta.
Ooh, Sam reads this and probably wants... Yeah, at the same time, there's not too much else Sam could do. He could still hope that Rimato is too afraid to actually go for the 2 hints in gelato. But, and Pinna Hundreds is requiring having done Mecha Bowser and then doing a pretty slow shine in Pinna Park, while the deep Pianta can give Samu something. It can give him the 7 bluebirds. It can give him 8 levels from 1, 8 shines from 1. The Pianta hidden and the Pianta shell Mario. It's unfortunately it won't be enough for it to be a winning play, and it takes quite a lot of time. But it's still better to do something than nothing, and doing nothing is something that a lot of players do when they're behind, which is pretty annoying, and that is definitely not a call out to anyone.
Yeah, it just sort of was a rough start and sort of remained rough. That does be how Invasion happens sometimes, depending on the starts, depending on how people play for rows. With a slower set of goals, you need more to go your way, and Rimato is not one to give ground when he takes it. So that will be 2 Hiddens and Gelato clicked away by Rimato. Meanwhile, Samu is moving underneath the village to enter Pianta 5 using Yoshi Skip, aptly named because you can skip Yoshi by doing it. In he goes. He will have some fun with the Chucksters as Rimato starts to look towards win conditions with 4 goals left to 13.
Oh yeah, this is interesting. When you're at 9 goals, you usually look at possible win cons that you can go for. And for Samu, for Rimato, it is probably, yeah, it can only be 5 from Bianca really. It can be 20 from 2 as well. He already has. Oh, he did Bianca 3 at one point. That's that's something I didn't notice, but that's good for him. It gives him better 20 20 from 2 progress. But then row 3 is kind of a sluggy row, like 4 from Noki. You don't have like any Noki shines. Hidden in Pianta is very terrible for Rimato. And row 4 isn't too hard either. Defeat the eel has a worse problem than 4 shines from Noki, because eel is a 4th shine from Noki. 8 from 1 is pretty deep. And 6 shines, as Rimato, you have done 1 Rico shine. It's also kind of awful. Honestly, Rimato doesn't have like the most comfortable isn't in the most comfortable state, because he needs to 5 shines from Bianco, 20 blue coins from 2 levels, and then what does he have? Like, he can go for Suna hundreds, and what else? It's kind of weird.
He's sort of stuck at that point, right? And there's ample opportunity. Samu may be behind here, but there's ample opportunity that if Samu makes the right choices, he could potentially bring this back. But the way in is going to have to involve Pianta Shadow Mario at some point, and 20 from 2 is critical. But like you mentioned, Samu needs 4 goals to win. We counted up 3 that he has access to that are convenient, and he's either ahead to or would be able to do advantageously, which is 5 from Bianco, 20 from 2, 100 from Serenity. That's it. He needs a 13th. Pianta Shadow Mario not looking realistic at this point. Neither is Hidden in Pianta. 4 shines from Noki, he's slightly behind 2. And Eel is essentially the same thing, but they are even in progress to Eel, despite having 4 from Noki. And 6 from Rico, again, doesn't have a ton of Rico progress, only Rico 1. 100 coin from Pinna, he can't click until he has something, anything in row 5, he can't click until he has something in row 4.
The good thing for Rimato, though, is that while he's behind to most of the goals, Samu needs hundreds in Pinna and 2 turbos to actually get all of the row 4 goals in order to get also row 3 goals. And 2 turbos might be pretty awful. 7 birds is something Samu really wants. He probably wants to do the 7 bluebirds, the 8 from 1 level, the Pianta Hidden, the Pianta Shell Mario, then go to Pinna, get the 2 bluebirds he's missing there, then do Mecha Bowser, then do Pinna hundreds in episode 2. And at that point, Rimato probably has caught up with stuff like 6 shines from Rico, with Defeat Eel, or like just general Noki shines.
Yeah, and he could make progress in Noki while all that's going on, right? So it's not the most comfortable position, right? It's not not going to be 100% smooth sailing. But Rimato is still in the lead, though Samu has some opportunities here, depending on the decisions Rimato makes to potentially make it even closer. Entering Pianta 8 will give him access to the hidden in Pianta 8 from 1, the 7th Bluebird. We're going to see some big clicks coming in here from Samu in just a hot second. So that'll be pretty exciting, and will make the score look a little closer.
All right. Do we have time for a quick donation?
Of course.
Yep.
All right. Just real quick. All right. We got a $50 donation by Woofer ZFG saying, "I already donated to the Super Mario Sunshine Lockup Bingo League prize pool, aka Rimato's bank account." Shoutouts to Lavertown. Yeah. Shoutouts to both of our commentators here. Back to you guys.
Thank you for your very generous donation. It's appreciated.
Yeah, I remember at the start of the league, I talked to Rufo by just Among Us, and I mentioned the Bingo League, which the concept and everything Rufo really liked, so he donated a pretty decent amount, as mentioned, to Rimato's bank account. But maybe Samu's bank account, hopefully.
Well, Samu will get a portion of it, whether he wins or loses. So.
Yeah, and so does Rimato, so that comment doesn't really make sense. But I'm glad that he also donates for an actual charity, not for Rimato's Rimato's fundraiser for something. I don't know.
I don't know what does Rimato fundraise for anyway?
I think in Finland, I think he told me that they get money from the government for housing when they are studying and stuff like that. So, and like favorable student loans. So I don't think Rimato needs the money. He probably just Rimato is already saving for his pension, for like retirement already.
Forward thinker, both in life and in bingo.
True. Oh no, yeah. One thing, Rimato needs a microphone because he never talks. Except that he has a microphone, has revealed his voice to 2 people in total. None other. So maybe we can make a joke out of it.
Yeah, we may have to. I don't know. We may have to confer with him, see if we can get a voice reveal if we raise a certain amount for Fred Hutch. I don't know if he'd agree to it, but obviously that's a possibility. We are hurting for incentives. But speaking of hurting for incentives, Samu's going to be hurting. That was very tortured. I'm sorry, but Samu's going to be hurting, or was going to be hurting, with 6 shines from Rico, because that was Rimato's play. But Samu has made the call to head back, and now they are essentially neck and neck, having both finished Rico 1 and Rico 2.
The unfortunate thing for Samu is that he can't click off 6 shines from Rico.
No,
I honestly don't even remember. I don't even remember Samu going into Pinna, getting the bluebirds. He probably. Oh wait, no, Samu got the. Yeah, I remember the hassles with the bluebirds in Pinna.
Yeah.
But at least that means that he got that goal, truthfully and all.
Yeah, it does make it a little rough. This is like the call that Samu has to make, but Samu needs like 2 turbos, 400 in Pinna to be able to click 6 shines from Rico, whereas Rimato is not bound by such laws.
The good thing for Samu is that he's 1 shine ahead because he did Rico 100s at an earlier point. The bad thing for Samu is that he's not far. He's only 1 shine ahead. if you were like 2 shines ahead for the 6 from Rico, did he do Mecha Bowser already?
He did. So he
Oh.
has access to Pinna 2 and can do Pinna 200s.
Oh. Okay, so if Samu was 2 shines ahead, this would have been pretty close actually, because Pinna 100s is not too much slower than 2 shines from Rico. I think they add up to barely over 3 minutes, depending on what shines to do actually. Maybe 2 minutes 50, so it could have been very close and could have depended on RNG or execution. But unfortunately, Samu is a bit too far behind. And I think that kind of raises the question if Samu just actually raced for their 5 NPCs and didn't just assume that Rimato would not go for or would go for piano 3 damages, how would this bingo would have looked like? Because Samu did like I would say a smart play with setting up everything. It can work out if your assumption about your opponent is correct, because you will spend a lot of time not rushing for a goal. You will do things more optimally. So you will save a bit of time in that way. And even though I feel the score doesn't look too close, it doesn't feel close either. But that just is because Samu set up for things that ended up being completely worthless for him. The NPC blue coins, the link pair, the Manta boss shine. It's a lot of time, more or less wasted. But it's still like there were a few things, like as I mentioned, if Samu was 2 shines ahead in Rico, he could have maybe got Pinna 100s in that time, got Pinna 100s, 6 shines from Rico, and it would have been much more competitive. So even though it's kind of an unfortunate match, and I think a very Rimato favorite from the 5 NPCs click, or 5 blue coins from NPC click, it still means that we might actually have a series on our hands. It might come down to game 2. Samu needs to step up his game a little bit in order to actually get that win. But
Yeah, you have to outfox the goat, in other words.
Yeah. But yeah, enough rambling. They're just progressing through Rico. Rimato is finishing up his 6th shine. Samu wants 2 turbo nozzles instead of Pinna 100s, which is also fair. It's both goals are not the easiest to go for.
Then after this, I would imagine we'll see what would Rimato do to try to finish things out. Would you expect him to do 100 from Serena? Would you expect him to try to gun for 100 in Pinna? Right? Like Rimato has the upper hand here, so he can essentially have his pick. And as long as Samu and him don't pick the same thing, he's got a comfortable path to victory.
Yeah. He has 3 options to open to him doing Pinna 100s now that he has access to row 5 again. Committing for 2 turbo nozzles, which is not even unviable. He has 25 shines, which means that he can unlock the turbo nozzle in the Fino and Rico 7 immediately afterwards. So that's probably Rimato's best or like fastest win condition. There are safe plays like Serena 100s, which is a long shine, but if you get sniped to this, you kind of wasted your time. So it's pretty good for Rimato. I've completely forgot about the 2 rockets actually, which make this the first game already finished basically.
Yep, access to the Delfino Turbo by way of having Yoshi unlocked. That is a prerequisite. That is why Samu, despite having a higher shine count, does not have access. That is GG. Rimato taking the first game of the best of 3, 13-8 in Invasion. And Samu on the back foot will have his choice of format going into game 2.
All right. So, since unfortunately, I honestly do not know the name of the runner who wanted to do Untitled Goose Game, but
His name is Green Snow Dog.
yeah. Unfortunately, they felt sick and couldn't make the game. So we technically have time for an interview if we really want. I will ask the players. Maybe they want to have a little break because playing 2 games in a row is pretty stressful. Playing 1 game already can knock you out already. So it mostly depends on what the competitors want to do instead. But GG to both of them. It was still a pretty competitive game despite just a rough start for Samu. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll have Samu hop in. As we mentioned, Rimato was with no mic. It's not voice revealing, not just yet. We'll be in Twitch chat saying hello. We will vocalize his thoughts as we enter into a quick interview here. Waiting for Samu to pop on in.
We're still waiting for Samu, but
Samu, they're
I
both
guess
going to be in
since
chat.
Rimato,
So, yeah, unless Samu wants to hop in voice.
All right, that is more on Samu's decision.
Yeah,
maybe
so
it's just a chat.
scenes.
Yeah, if someone wants to join voice, it's probably best to join into a waiting room and be dragged in. But either way, congrats Rimato for winning game 1. You guys talked in the Bingo Sync chat a little bit, and Samu. I feel like Samu. Okay, welcome Samu. GG.
Hey.
The very first thing, you did like it seemed like you would want to do a 5 NPCs rush with the Fire Pianta, but didn't fully commit to it. Did you think that Rimato would start Pianta-free damageless?
That's old, but he would be smart enough to go and rush 5 NPCs instead. So I didn't want to believe he would do that. So I just wanted to like set up for something in the middle, like unique boss with Amanda.
Okay, yeah, and that's fair to set up for like row 3 already a bit. So once you saw,
so I also get a shine from that, so I will have gone for Hidden Enchilada, but it's a time sink, so I just left that for a lot later to click it later, but lost it eventually.
But yeah, we've had like this. You could have won NPCs, especially with the Fire Pianta start. But in my opinion, committing for 1 goal in invasion really early on is pretty scary. So setting up just makes you feel a bit more secure. And even though row 5 was pretty tough, or like row 4 was very tough to get through.
Yeah, it was the very first.
Yeah, you still had some opportunities. We theorized a little bit at the end that if you didn't spend the time going for the goals that, like in hindsight, that didn't give you anything like meta, like NPCs, it would have been a bit more closer at the end. I think you could have had pinner hundreds if you were like 1 shine ahead for 6 shines from Rico. You could have done pinner hundreds and still lost 6 shines, but it could have been much closer, of course. Like throughout the game, did you think that there was an opportunity to come back from?
Possibly, I was thinking Eel and 4 shines from Noki would be my comeback option. And Pianta Shadow Mario, I know that Rimato is not going to touch that, so I saw an opportunity with the 7 bluebirds, Pianta Hidden, 8 from 1, and Pianta Shadow Mario just went all together, so I managed to get 4 clicks there. that's just pretty much it I had in my mind. I couldn't really go through that for, kind of in a row 4.
Rimato's highlighting in chat some of the importance of 50 from 2 and sort of his delay of that goal. Thinking about maybe finishing hundreds in as part of 40 totals. Thoughts on 50 from 2? Were you expecting that to go for that at any point? Or
Well, it's kind of easy to do that when you go to the levels. Just get 50 and be done with that. Like any level really works. So I was expecting that. Four Unix was kind of a snipe, but I was finishing just 100, so I couldn't get to the PD in time.
Yeah. We've kind of been brushing over like what Rimato has been saying, and I think he mentioned that like the first thing I saw was that he thought that his early game routing was kind of bad, and from the looks of it, from briefly reading over this, mostly theorized for row 5 instead, probably because of Pianta 3 damages, because Pianta is Rimato's favorite level still. Oh yeah, that's a lot to read. Rimato, you should probably opt to actually do a voice reveal, bite the bullet, talk to us. That's usually a bit better.
yeah, I was gonna ask, would you put a price on a voice reveal?
Ooh, that's true.
If we can get however much for Fred Hutch during match 2 of this bingo, would you?
Yeah.
Could you put a price on that for a potential voice reveal?
Yeah, that should have been an incentive from the get-go, actually.
Romano's saying, I don't think anyone has deep enough pockets for my prize. Well, name your price.
Yeah, we didn't get a number yet. I think there are some people that can give up a dollar or two.
While they're thinking about that, we actually got a donation a little bit earlier. Might I read that out real quick?
Of course.
We got $10 here from Haywire saying, "You people at Bingothon do a wonderful job with setting up entertainment and information in a professional way. Lots of love from the Super Mario Sunshine River Gang." Thank you very much for that donation.
And thank you, Haywire. Haywire played in our Division 3 finals earlier today.
Yeah. Bastard.
Yeah.
River Gang referring to the Pianta 3 damages thread that was showcased by you, Samu. You're part of the River Gang. How does it feel being in that club?
The water is still. I just prefer the consistency. I don't want to go and restart the level again.
Fair.
Yeah.
And there's a blue coins too. Wanted to get those.
Yeah, the appealing part about being River Gang. I think for the best of 3 format that we have for this tournament, we want to know from Samu what format you want to pick for the second game that is going to be played.
I'm still debating between trapped lockout or rope control.
Ooh.
Rope control was the one that Rimato picked against me. I guess we're gonna go with trapped. Just see how it goes with that.
Ooh.
Exciting.
I'm a fan. So we're going to have a draft lockout, which is a spicy format that we have to explain later on as well, if the time comes. Do you guys want to take a little break now, like 5 to 10 minutes, or I don't know how long you actually need?
Up to Rimato. I can go immediately. Just give him the crown on it already at this point. He's the bingo king after all.
Unfortunately, Rimato, the Untitled Goose Game, the runner was feeling ill and won't be able to run today. So
So it means we can go already if he wants to.
so you can go right away, or we can take a short break, and up to you.
Have a little intermission.
Oh, by the way, real quick about the Untitled Goose Game. As you said, the runner's not feeling so good. So if he's feeling, if there's somebody in chat right now who just came for the Goose Game bingo, sorry, unfortunate. But if Green Snowdog is feeling better tomorrow, we'll try to squeeze that game in tomorrow at some point. So
Yeah,
just as
anybody
a
who is interested in that, best keep an eye out on our Twitter. There we will announce it if we find a way to get it in the schedule again.
exactly, just a quick heads up for you guys in chat.
Okay, Rimato says that he would like a 5-minute break, so I think we'll. It's better to have a 5-minute intermission. Hope you're fine with a 5-minute break, Sam. I think it's better to take a break, in my opinion.
Yeah. After that kind of card, especially.
But yeah, we will set up for the second game, and in the meantime, I hope Flo and Zona like entertaining during the intermission, unless it's
Sure.
yeah.
We can do that.
We hope that we're entertaining enough.
Well, thank you so much for your donations, for your generosity, for watching. Don't go anywhere. We will be back with more Super Mario Sunshine 1v1 Lockout Bingo League action after this short 5-minute break here on Bingothon Winter 2020, supporting Fred Hutch.